Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, one of history's greatest musical minds, was not only a prodigious composer but also a man of peculiar habits. Among his many quirks, one of the most unusual was his tendency to meow like a cat, sometimes in the middle of conversations, sometimes while composing, and even in social gatherings. This seemingly bizarre behavior adds another layer of mystery to his already fascinating personality. Was this simply an eccentricity, or did it reveal something deeper about his character? Mozart's love for feline behavior was not merely a passing amusement. It was something he seemed to do instinctively, as if he found joy in imitating cats. Accounts from those who knew him suggest that he would randomly make cat noises during formal and informal interactions. Imagine being in an 18th-century European salon, surrounded by aristocrats discussing high culture, only for Mozart to suddenly start meowing in the middle of the conversation. Such antics, while amusing to some, must have also bewildered those who expected him to behave like a conventional gentleman. His cat-like behavior extended beyond mere sounds. He often playfully acted like a cat, crawling under tables or scratching at furniture in a joking manner. Some of his friends found it entertaining, while others viewed it as evidence of his unpredictable nature. His letters, which are filled with playful and sometimes absurd humor, suggest that he enjoyed testing social boundaries, seeing how much he could get away with before people lost patience with his antics. Mozart's fascination with meowing was so pronounced that he even incorporated it into his music and interactions with colleagues. While composing, he would sometimes make cat noises, as if channeling feline energy into his work. Whether this was a way to amuse himself during the long hours at the piano or simply a subconscious habit, it adds to the image of Mozart as a musician who found inspiration in the most unexpected places. Interestingly, his love for cats aligns with his well-documented sense of humor, which was often childish, crude, and playful. He was known for writing letters filled with toilet jokes and absurd wordplay, and his compositions sometimes contained humorous elements that broke the conventions of his time. The fact that he found joy in meowing further supports the idea that he never took life too seriously, despite his immense talent and the pressures placed upon him as a composer. But was there a deeper reason behind Mozart's cat-like behavior? Some historians and psychologists speculate that it may have been a form of stress relief. The life of a child prodigy turned adult composer was not an easy one. From a young age, Mozart was pushed to perform in royal courts, tour Europe, and impress the aristocracy. Such pressure could have driven him to find unconventional ways to cope. His cat imitations, rather than being a meaningless quirk, might have been a way to momentarily escape reality, reconnect with his playful side, and amuse himself in an otherwise demanding world. Another theory suggests that Mozart's meowing was simply an extension of his highly creative and spontaneous nature. Unlike many composers who methodically planned their works, Mozart had an almost supernatural ability to create music on the spot. He was known for composing entire symphonies in his head before writing them down, often without corrections. His mind worked at an extraordinary speed, jumping between ideas, melodies, and emotions. Perhaps his tendency to meow was part of this same spontaneity, just another expression of his uninhibited genius. There is also the possibility that Mozart was influenced by the presence of actual cats in his environment. In 18th-century Europe, cats were common in households, used to control mice and rats. It's entirely possible that Mozart had a beloved pet cat or spent time around them enough to absorb their behaviors into his own. He may have found their movements, sounds, and playfulness amusing and unconsciously mimicked them as part of his natural curiosity. Despite his eccentricity, Mozart's meowing was never seen as a sign of madness, just as a part of his larger-than-life personality. He was an artist who lived and breathed creativity, a man who was deeply connected to sound, rhythm, and expression in every form. If that meant sometimes acting like a cat, so be it. Even today, this small but curious detail about Mozart continues to fascinate historians and music lovers alike. It reminds us that behind the great works of classical music was a man who was not just a genius, but also a playful and unpredictable character. His music may be timeless, but his eccentricities make him feel surprisingly human, as if he were a mischievous friend rather than a distant historical figure. So the next time you listen to Eine kleine Nacht music or the magic flute, imagine Mozart sitting at his piano, lost in thought, occasionally letting out a random meow. It's a strange but charming image, one that makes his legacy even more unique.